Okay, this looks cute. I'm using my ring light, which I have had for years and I stopped using for some reason. Hello, hi, I'm Katie. I am a Boston-based yarn dyer and knitter. I run the yarn company Claws Out Yarn Co. Welcome back to my knitting podcast. I have been thinking about naming this podcast to make it easier to find on my channel. So if you have any ideas, I would have loved to have one ready for this episode, but obviously I don't. So if you have any ideas, let me know. Does this look good with my ring light? Yeah, it does. I look good. Okay, great. Gotta have some of this. Today is, God, it's sweaty. Sweatiest coffee ever. But I've gotten really into Dunkin's brown sugar shaken espresso, which isn't really information that you might care about because you're here for yarn and knitting content probably. Welcome back to my channel. All that is to say, thank you for being here. So I actually have a few things to show you today. I have a finished object, which is staring you in the face right now. I have a yarn acquisition, I have a new whip, and I have some shop updates. So I actually have a lot going on. There's lots of things happening, which is really exciting. First, I have a brief update on my hand. If you've watched my last couple of episodes, you've seen that I've been wearing a brace on my left hand because I went a little too hard with my spinning in July. So I ended up getting a repetitive, repetitive movement, repetitive stress pain in my hand. I was knitting the same amount as usual, which is a lot every day, but I was also doing a lot of the drafting of spinning, which is a lot of this, a lot of pinching and pulling and over again, and I was also doing it for 3 to 3 hours a day a couple days, just no breaks, just sitting and spinning. That was not the right choice. That hurt. So I have been in a brace. I am now, it's still a little bit sore, but I'm able to do more things with it, which is really nice, and I've been able to take some breaks from the brace, which is also awesome. That's the update, is that it is in a slightly better state, which is good. Let's jump into my finished object, singular, because I'm wearing it right now. I think I finished it last week. This is my Mercer Pullover. This was a test for Tori Yu of her newest pattern, and I finished it early. The test period doesn't end until September 1st, so that feels really good. Let me tell you about her. She is so cute. I did weave in all the ends today. I just sat on the couch and wove them all in after breakfast. So this is the Mercer Pullover, like I said. It is a big gauge project, which is really nice. So I held 2 yarns together and I'll talk about them, but it is basically a DK weight that you work on size 9 needles. And so it's big, it's fluffy, it's got a really nice drape. And it comes in 2 options. So there's a long sleeve, more traditional sweater option, and then there's this option, which is in the pattern is written as sleeveless. So it has technically these little sleeve caps essentially, but it doesn't have real sleeves. That was also part of why I was able to finish this well within the testing period, because when I got to the sleeves it was this much. So I knit this in my own yarn. This is a sample now of my yarn. This is the colorway Where's the Met on my whisker fingering base and my classic Surrey lace base. So it's my non-superwash merino, which is one of my newer bases, held double with a fluffy Surrey alpaca. Pattern calls for a fluffy Surrey, at least for this test. It was encouraged because that's kind of that's the goal of this pattern, is to make a really cozy, comfy, just really nice, fluffy garment. So I was what better opportunity than to use my own yarn for this. I actually didn't use all of the yarn that I dyed for this, so by the time I put out this episode, there will be a skein of each of these bases available on my shop. Actually, let me get the extras for you and then I can talk about how much I used, because I was actually surprised with how little yarn this pattern used. Okay, here they are. So this is the Surrey alpaca on top, and then here's the fingering. Let's see, I did I did weigh them and measure how much I used. So I used a full skein of each of these plus whatever I used from these balls. But I had dyed up 3 of each. I didn't really think that I was going to use that much, but when I dye my yarn for tonal, like solid colors like this, I dye 3 at a time in a pot. For the whisker fingering base, which is this one, the non-superwash merino, as a lot of non-superwash bases do, this takes color a little bit lighter than it would if this was a superwash skein. I can put up a picture here of what the colorway looks like on my superwash bases. It's definitely a little bit more intense, more like red, whereas this you can see is kind of lighter and a little bit pinker, but I really like how it looks. Similar with how it took on the Surrey, because Surrey alpaca, like when it's brushed like this, gives you kind of a whiter, like a, not necessarily white, but like a light fluffy halo cast to your yarn. For the whisker fingering base, here it is. So I used 1.72 skeins, which is 172 grams. This base is 100 grams and 437 yards. And that came out to about 752 yards of this skein. So I did use, it says I used 1.72. This feels like a lot more yardage than 28% of a skein. I'm not going to check my math. I do believe that my math is right. But, and then for the Surrey, I used 1.48 skeins. These are 50 grams, 328 yards. So I used 485 yards of this. So that is also very interesting to me, that even though I held these together, I used drastically different yardage for both of them. Now I'm like thinking if my math is wrong, and I might recheck, and if I do recheck, there will be numbers on the screen. So to calculate how much yardage you've used from a skein, you have to know how much a full skein is and how many yards a full skein is. So for this one, I know it's 100 grams, 437 yards, like I said, and I know that this one was 50 grams, 328 yards. To do this, you find a scale, preferably like a kitchen scale. I have one that I originally bought years and years and years ago to weigh out coffee beans. You put your remainder skein on the scale. Then you see what it says in grams. Then, I don't know why I'm talking to you like you're 8. So like this one must have said that it weighed 28 grams. Hang on, I have to redo this math. Give me 1 second, that can't be right. Okay, I have my scale. We're gonna do this together because that really doesn't seem right. Okay. The original of this was 100 grams, but I used some of it. I gotta put it on the floor. This is going on the scale. So I was wrong. So that is 67 grams, which means that I only used 33 grams of this. I used 1.33 skeins, which is 133 grams of the whisker fingering, and that is 581 yards. That makes sense. Now let's see how much I messed up the Surrey one. That one is 22 grams, which means I used this one you have to do a little bit of math because it's 50 grams. I used 1.44 skeins. Okay, the numbers make way more sense now. So let that be a lesson to you to do your math correctly. I used 472 yards of the Surrey, and I used 581 yards of the fingering. It's good that I am doing this now because I still have to fill out the feedback form for the test, so now it'll be accurate. Basically, that's much closer. I still used more of the fingering weight than I did of the Surrey, which is still very interesting. Whatever. There's all of the information and the correct yardage and weight and everything is on my Ravelry page for this. My Ravelry page is linked in my bio, or in the description here. Anyway, I really love this pattern. The only modification I did was I used size 5 needles for the hem, collar, sleeve cuffs, as opposed to size 4 needles, and I only did that because I didn't have any size 4 needles. But I think it looks really cute. I like the way that this neck works. I do already have plans to make another one of these. If I wasn't going on my honeymoon, I would do it now and kind of just spend the rest of the month doing it. But I have other projects that I want to work on during the honeymoon. But I want to make one. I'll get the yarn for you. It's really cool yarn, and I think that it would be a totally different vibe to this, like a totally different version, and I think it would look really cool. One second. Okay, so the yarn that I want to use, because this is a DK weight, and obviously this is held together with 2 strands, but I have this yarn that I got in Ireland in the spring, which I believe is also a DK weight, DK-ish. Like, I haven't actually measured it. It might be closer to an Aran weight, but I think since this is a bigger gauge, it would still look really nice. But it's this tweed Aran Woolen Mills yarn that I got in Galway this past spring. I have 4 of these. They are each 175 yards to 100 grams. So I guess that's closer to a worsted, but it looks thin. It feels DK-ish. And I think this would be really cool. I love the tweediness of it. I think that would be really cool on this. It would be really cool for this to have like a non-fuzzy version. I really love this fuzzy version, but it's definitely like, I can really only wear it with something under it. I'm not wearing anything under it right now because I wanted to show you, but ideally I would have a t-shirt on. So it would be cool to have this, which is just 100% wool. It doesn't say what wool because obviously it's Irish wool. That's certainly an option for a second version of this. Not gonna happen anytime soon, but maybe in the fall, because this one, this garment is like saddle shoulder construction, so you do the 2 saddles and then you do the back, you do the front. But once you're joined in the round, she is speedy. She is zoomy, zoomy, zoomy. And I made it a little bit cropped, which I really like. I did it about 5 rows, so maybe like an inch shorter than recommended in the pattern, just to fit my preferences. As you saw when I stood up, it fits like right where my jeans are, and that's what I want. So I think whenever I decide to make it up in that, it'll look really cool. And I do have 4 of these. Like I said, I could probably get away with still having 1 or 2 of these left, potentially. Well, if I used about 500 yards, then I'd probably use 3 of these, which means I still have 1 left for a hat. That is my finished object. I am very happy to have something that's finished. I have kind of been feeling, and I don't know really if this is the case or if I'm just making it up in my head, but I watch a lot of knitting podcasts. I love to watch other people and their creative goings on and whatever. I love it. I think it's so interesting. But I've realized, and this is okay, I've tried to like internalize that this is okay. I just don't finish as many things as a lot of people who put out frequent knitting content do. And I'm not trying to like force myself to finish more things. Again, hand injury, hello. I'm almost 31. The hand injuries are gonna keep coming. I'm not trying to like speed knit through things, but I have been like internally feeling a little bit like, oh man, you know, like I wish I finished more stuff. And maybe if I finished more things, maybe that would make my channel more interesting. So please sound off in the comments if you, I don't know, don't tell me if you want me to finish more stuff, because that's gonna make me feel bad. Just tell me it's okay to not be finishing everything all the time. Because I do knit a lot. I'm constantly knitting, but obviously, as we've seen, I'm always starting things and not finishing them. And I just feel like would I be a more interesting person to watch on the internet if I finished things more often? I suppose maybe. I don't really know. I understand that I am not everybody's cup of tea. And I do also understand that people love to see finished objects. So I'm not going to change anything about my life or what I'm doing. But I am going to be very excited when I have finished things to show you. I guess that's all I'm really saying. Okay, I'm back. This is my kind of outfit of the summer, is just like big t-shirt and denim shorts. I've really just been living in that and feeling very comfortable in that this summer. I'm not a cutesy like couture fashion girly, and it's just been too goddamn hot to like conceptualize wearing anything else. This is it, this big t-shirt. Okay, we will do yarn acquisitions. I just have one. Wait. before we do yarn acquisitions, I forgot that I technically also have another finished object. It came as a surprise to me. Let me show you. You may have seen on Instagram, if you follow me there, which you should be, at Closet Yarn Co. I just randomly one day last week just started crocheting coasters. I had some yarn and I was like, what if I just made a bunch of coasters? So what happens when you're a yarn dyer is that you do a swatch of your yarn colors so that people can see what they look like knit up. So I do that. I always do it on my Kitten DK base, which is it is a superwash merino and nylon base. And then I just have a bunch of yarn left over because the swatches only take, I don't know, 20% of a skein maybe. And then I have to, the yarn just sits there and I don't do anything with it. So I've decided that I'm just going to be crocheting these little coasters out of all of my leftover yarn, and potentially I will be gifting them to people possibly for the holidays, because I did 5 of these. The other one is over here under my coffee. I did 5 of these in about an hour last week. They are so fast. I found a pattern from, it's like a free pattern from A Box of Twine. It's on Ravelry, but I don't remember the name of it. I don't think I saved it or anything. I just opened it and started doing it. I started making these ones, which obviously need their ends woven in. So the yarn that I've been using, because it's just been on my desk. On my desk I have a, just like a big basket of, like ends of skeins, scrap skeins, whatever. And sometimes I use them for like putting yarn on, like projects on hold or whatever. So there's a lot of yarn in there that's like, most of it is my colors. So what I have right now is the skeins from the Dancing Queen collection, the Mamma Mia collection. So this color is Lay All Your Love on Me, and this one is Super Trooper. And they're making really good, fun coasters. I mean, I really like them. But yeah, if I can make 5 of these in an hour, and then I use up most of the skein, then I really only have like 20 yards left. Like it's really the end of the skein then. I can just do them in sets of 5 and give them to people. Or I'm saying all this and I'm just gonna burn out and not do them ever again. That is an option. Now we can do yarn acquisitions. I only have one. I went to a new to me yarn store. My parents live on the South Shore of Massachusetts, where I grew up, and my mom has gotten much more involved with her local like knitting and yarn shop scene lately, thanks to me, because I have kind of reintroduced her to knitting, and I'm very happy about that. She's doing a really great job. And so she has been going to this yarn store. She knows one of the, a couple people involved. So she's been going to Pearl and Anchor, which is a yarn store. It was located in Norwell, Mass. Now it's in Hanover, Mass. It moved location. So I went down there the first day they were open to say hi in their new location. And hopefully I will have yarn in the store soon, but I went because I love a yarn store. I bought 5 skeins of yarn, because of course I did, to make a sweater. When will this sweater happen? Nobody knows. I think I had a sweater in mind. Actually, I have a couple sweaters that it could be, because it's just 5 DK skeins, whatever. So this is the yarn. I have, like I said, I have 5 of these. It is from Kim Dyes Yarn. The colorway is olive oil. This is the Mochi DK base, which is, it's so nice. It's 51% baby alpaca and 49% cotton. It's 100 grams and 328 yards. So I bought all 5 of this beautiful green color that they had. I really love how this looks. I love, like, you can see the cotton underneath is the kind of white. And they have a bunch of colors of this. There was like a purple, like a dark purple, a dark blue. There might have been a dark, like wine red color. Really, really excited about this. I believe I'm going to make the Earth Pullover by Ozetta, I think, which is just like a pretty straightforward top-down pullover. But I am really, really excited about this. Okay, so yeah, I have got 5 of them. They're really just so gorgeous. So I'm very excited about that. Again, the color is olive oil, which I think is awesome. Not doing that anytime soon. I have a lot of project plans in my head right now, but they mostly feature my own yarn because I am trying to make more samples effectively with my colorways. I have the new collection that I'm cooking up, which will probably be available in October. And like I have a sample that I'm going to be working on for that while I'm on my honeymoon, which is really exciting. Yeah, I have lots of plans and stuff for all of those colors, and I just have like a lot of sample-y things I want to be working on. So yarn by other dyers is still very exciting to me, and I still want to make things with it, but it's also like, it's just sort of on the back burner while I am doing all of this business stuff. And I'm trying to have some of these samples made up in my own yarn so that I can wear them for like the markets and stuff I'm doing this fall, which I will be talking about after I talk about whips. So let's talk about whips. I just have 2 to show you. One you have seen before. So this is, again, I know it's the same color as what I just, quite similar. This is the Summer Stripes Tee by Perfectly Knotted. Obviously I've made some really decent progress on it. I forget what it looked like the last time you saw it in a YouTube video. I feel like I was only like here, like 1 or 2 stripes in. So I've done 4 stripes, and I tried this on and kind of modeled it for myself last week, and it fits so well. It fits really, really, really well. I'm really excited about it. And I think I decided I'm only going to do 2 more stripes. I haven't made much progress since I took that video, so it's still about the same. So I had 4 stripes when I made that video, so I'm going to do 1 more stripe, like white stripe, and then another one, and then after that second white stripe, then I'll do the hem. And then I'll do the collar and the sleeves, and I will be done with this bad boy. So this is going to be my focus now that we'll see, because we're going to talk about my other whip too. But I would like to finish this one maybe while we're in Alaska. This one will just be really nice to wear on my honeymoon. So I think the hem and the collar and stuff are all, I believe they're folded hems, which are like a little bit fiddly, but there's no ribbing or anything. I mean, I could go rogue and I could do ribbing if I wanted to, but I don't. I like how it looks, so. I've talked about it a lot, but this yarn is Republica Unicornia Pure BFL. This is the colorway A Cunning Plan, and the contrast color is the color Cowlin. It's 100% Blueface Leicester wool superwash. I believe it's 100 grams, 437 yards. I have an identical base, which you're going to see in a minute. And I really love it. Obviously, like, the collar looks kind of honkin' and big, but you pick up stitches for it, so that will get pulled in when I do the collar. And once I finish the body, I'm going to do the collar next. That is what I did with, actually, that's what I did with this, the Mercer Pullover. I actually did the collar on this like as I was doing the body. I just found the other ends of the skeins and did the collar so that it would be done. So that's kind of the plan with this, because I don't think, based on how it was fitting when I was wearing it, tried it on, and I haven't looked at the sleeve instructions yet, but because of how it was looking and where the sleeves were, I don't really want the sleeves to be long, like very much longer than that. So I think once I've done the collar, when it's time to start the sleeves, it's going to be really quick and easy. I have debated doing the collar and the sleeve cuffs in the contrast color, but I don't think I will. I really like how Claire's sample looks, where it's a solid color from the neck through the sleeves, and then you just start the stripes like below the bust. So I will probably stick to that. But either way, I'm really, really happy about this, feeling very good about it. I am going to take this one to the studio with me in a little bit after I film this to keep working on it because I just need to get through those 2 more stripes. My next project, my next whip, is one that you have not seen before because I started it, what's today? I started it on Thursday. So I have been talking about making this, I don't know if I'm talking about it here, but I've been talking about making this project for a while, and it's finally happening. I spent a lot of time working on ends management for this as well today, because it was looking kind of insane. But I am finally making the Bloodroot Tea by Andrea Gone. Yay. I have a lot to say about this. I'm doing this also in my yarn. This is my BFL base, and I'm doing it in three colorways of mine from the Dancing Queen collection. So first, and the pattern, you can do a solid color or you can do stripes. I am slightly modifying the stripe pattern that she gives you, which has meant I've had to make a couple modifications, but we'll get there. So this color, don't know what that is. First we have Our Last Summer, then I have Honey Honey, it's my favorite neutral I've ever made, and then we have Waterloo. So these are all colors from the Dancing Queen collection, which is great because they go together really nicely, which is on purpose, obviously. So I am doing, the pattern calls for, when you're doing the stripes, it calls for like, similar to the Summer Stripes tee, like a thicker stripe and then a thinner stripe of your main color and your contrast color. I decided to do equal stripe lengths for these 3 colors. So I'm doing 4 row stripes, and oh my god, it looks so good. Like I said, the inside is looking like a little crazy, but there were way more ends a couple hours ago before I started working on this. And this pattern is worked, you work the back, then you work the little front pieces and do some neck increases. But it's also a set-in sleeves construction. So once you join it all together, you pick up stitches for the sleeves like along here. And then you keep working in the round, but you're working increases only on the sleeves. And I did this for the first time when working on my Cosmopolitan tee, also by Tori Yu, and I really like the construction. It's a little bit weird to get your head around the first time, but once you know what's happening, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just working the sleeves. Because of the stripe pattern, right? I was like, oh, well, I'm doing stripes and it's gonna add up to like the same multiple, you know, the math is gonna add up to what Andrea's stripe pattern did. Wrong. So when I was working when I worked the back, here is the back like trapezoid. I finished it here, midway through this blue stripe. I did 2 rows of this blue stripe and then I put the back on hold. So the goal then is that when I was working the front like this, the idea was that that would also end in the same place in a 2-row stripe, 2 rows into the blue, so that when I picked up the sleeve stitches here, it would be in blue. It would be the same color. And that would have worked if I did what Andrea said and did her stripe pattern, but I didn't do that. But obviously you can see that it worked out here. So what I did was, on the part of the front panels that go like here and here, the parts of those that you work flat, or not flat, straight, or no increases, I just added some stripes. So I added 8 more rows to each of those than was called for in the pattern. It might just make, it'll basically just make the front, where the front joins, come down a little bit lower, but I measured it, it's really only like 1 inch, and I don't care. It was gonna be way more annoying and way more work for me to finagle some other way for the stripes to line up than for me to just add 2 stripes. So that's what I did. And now I am working slowly. This is fingering weight and this is on size 2 needles. The Summer Stripes tee is fingering weight, but it's on size 5 needles. Oh, that's nice. That is the first real thumbs up I've done with this hand in a month. So I'm just working through there and I'm on the bit where I'm only increasing on the sleeves. So it's going. I really love this. This is one, Who knows when I'll finish it because it's size 2 needles. The yarn management is a little bit messy. I could just be cutting the yarn every time I change stripes. And I was doing that when it was worked flat. But now that it's worked in the round, I'm testing out a little bit of just like carrying the yarns up the stripes. I don't know if that'll stick. I might just end up just cutting it, but we'll see. I am enjoying this, and we will see how it keeps going. I really like it. I'm proud of what I'm doing with the stripes. I love that it's my yarn, and hopefully I can finish this by the time of these markets and festivals I have coming up. And we're going to talk about those right now. Okay, I'm very quickly just going to give you a rundown of some things that are happening this fall that I'm so excited about. First, I want to introduce you to my official Boston Fiber Festival exclusive colorway. Last year I did an exclusive colorway for the Boston Fiber Festival and it was really well received. So this year I asked people what color direction they'd like me to go in, and you all voted for green. So here is Emerald Necklace. I really love this colorway. I'm really, really proud of it. She's so pretty. She's so interesting and beautiful. And so this colorway will only be available at the Boston Fiber Festival, which I am vending at for the second year in a row. It's the biggest year of the festival. Please go get your tickets if you're in the Boston or New England area. Sarah and the team at Boston Fiber Company are doing like so much work to do this. It's a 2-day festival this year. It's in a whole new venue, bigger venue. It's so exciting. I'm thrilled to be part of it. I really can't wait. I'm dyeing up so much yarn for you. I'm gonna go dye. This is my plan today, is to go dye more of this. So this is Emerald Necklace. I'm going to have it available on 3 bases, so it's just these 3 bases. This is my kitten worsted. It is a superwash merino and nylon blend, 100 grams, 196 yards. Then I have my whisker fingering base, which I just talked about with my Mercer Pullover. So again, this is 100 grams, 437 yards, non-superwash merino, 100%. It's stunning. So obviously the color is a little bit more muted on this one, but it's still like the speckles are still coming through. It's still so pretty. And then I will also have it on my feline sock base, which is definitely my most popular base. It is a high twist superwash merino and nylon, so it really gives you that like definition that you want for socks. So these 3 bases, that is what it will be available on. And so, Boston Fiber Festival, I will be there September 12th and 13th at the Cyclorama in Boston's South End. I'm so thrilled. I love hanging out with those people. They're so great. The festival runs from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on both of those days. There are also going to be like classes and, you know, so much. Go check out the Boston Fiber Festival. They are doing so many things and it's amazing. And like I said, please go get your tickets. This is the only one of the events I'm doing this fall that are ticketed. The first 100 people through the door get a little swag goodie bag. I saw that on their podcast. So then 2 weeks after that, for September 26th and 27th, I will be doing JP Open Studios here in Boston in Jamaica Plain. Jamaica Plain is full of artists and so many people have studios here, including me now. There's a map at jpopenstudios.com, I believe it is. I'll put the website here. There's a map and information about all of the artists, so it's all over JP for the whole weekend. People will just have their studios open between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. The whole weekend is about appreciating artists, and just like experiencing good art as a community. So it's not necessarily somewhere for you where you're expected to buy art. I will have yarn for sale, but I will also have, you know, like my dyeing stuff on display, and I think I'm gonna have a little bit of like a crafting corner set up in my space. My studio is really not very big, so we'll see what I can do, but it's not just about buying stuff, it's about spending time with artists, which is really, really, really cool. And then the weekend after that, on October 3rd, he asked me what date it was. I said it was October 3rd. I'll be doing the inaugural Soro Fiber Show. I'm very happy to be leaving Massachusetts for my very first out-of-state festival. It is on the town green in South Royalton, Vermont. So if you are up that direction, or you want to be, it's about a 2-hour drive from Boston. That is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's the same day, same weekend as Vermont Sheep and Wool, which is actually relatively close by to where I will be, so you can make a whole big yarny adventure day out of it. I'm really happy that I was invited to vend at this festival. A lot of other really cool vendors are going to be there. Not just yarn people, but there will be some potters and weavers and, like, just a really, really great day. Those are all my updates. I'm having a really busy summer, and I'm leaving on my honeymoon in 4 days, and I'm just dyeing as much yarn as possible until I leave. And then when I get back, I will also be dyeing as much yarn as possible. So thank you for being here. Thank you for making this happen. Let me know what I should name this podcast in the comments. And I love you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!